Hey, it's Ty Screams, and I'm about to give you a recap of what happened on season 48, episode 8 of Survivor. They're coming back from Tribal, and Chrissy is seeing that she needs to do some damage control because of her comments about the Loyalty Alliance. Shaheen is also feeling a bit nervous after seeing his name on a parchment, now trying to figure out which of the girls and he and his alliance should bring with him to the end. It's the following morning, and Tremail arrives, telling them that they need to split into pairs, which causes some awkward stares until Joe speaks up and says, "Who do you want to run with?" And they all pair off. Mitch is seeing his original Siva 5 votes can make a move tonight, which all of them see the opportunity to make sure that they remain in power. But David is the most apprehensive as he sees a clear path to the end. It's the immunity challenge, and Jeff asks about how they split up, specifically asking Shaheen about why he picked Camilla, which causes some side eyes. So the first stage of the challenge, they're going to race through a tunnel and collect a puzzle piece, then dig up a second puzzle piece. Only the first 3 pairs to complete will move on. On the second stage, they'll use the puzzle pieces to complete a staircase, then cross a rope bridge. Only the first 2 pairs to complete will move on to the final stage, which is a classic Survivor challenge. Hold on to a pole as long as possible, all competing as individuals. They're also playing for a reward of tacos for the final 4 competitors. Jeff then announces that the first 2 pairs that are knocked out will actually leave to go on a journey to risk their vote. The challenge starts, and Joe and Eva are the first to get their puzzle pieces, followed by David and Mary, then Kyle and Chrissy, sending Star, Mitch, Shaheen, and Camilla on the dreaded journey. In the second portion, they all build their staircases and start on the rope bridge when David and Mary are able to secure the win. But out of nowhere, Kyle and Chrissy fall off their bridge, giving the second winning spot to Eva and Joe. They start the last stage, and just after starting, Joe is the first to fall, with David slipping and falling just after him, leaving Mary and Eva to fight for immunity. They're both clearly struggling, but then Mary starts to inch down the pole a little bit. There's also some talk about how this is the hardest version of the challenge to date, with the footholds almost non-existent, with Mary even telling Jeff to shut up. Mary slides down the pole just a little bit more and steps onto the sand, giving individual immunity to Eva. Jeff congratulates her, gives her the immunity necklace, then sends the bottom 4 on the journey. Chrissy and Kyle are back at camp as the Purgatory 2, and Chrissy goes a bit hard on wanting to take a shot at Joe, even with Kyle trying to tee up Shaheen as a possibility of the vote. The journey crew are then tasked with competing against each other, where the first person to have 3 balls within their chute loses their vote. They have the option to choose 1 or 2 of the balls from the end of the big chute to add to their own. They start to pull, and Mitch and Camilla are silently working with each other to ensure that Star is the one that loses her vote. Camilla is able to pull the 2 of the last gray balls, giving Star a 3rd red ball, and she loses her vote. The winners are enjoying their tacos, and Eva is reaching for a chip and finds a rolled up scroll and quickly shoves it into her pants. The conversation switches to asking about Shaheen, and David poses considering Camilla to make sure that she and Shaheen aren't working together. Mary is speaking up, saying it's her preference also, so now Joe is hesitant about how to move forward. Everyone returns, and Eva quickly runs to the beach to get a look at what this scroll is, which says the next night she needs to go to the opposite end of the beach and look for flames to find a secret advantage. Kyle is talking to Joe, and he drops that David and Mary are wanting to target Camilla. This raises a ton of red flags, and Kyle sees that he has to do anything possible to keep her there and to keep his secret alliance strong. David is talking with Kyle, and it is a super tense conversation, and David even gets suspicious on why Kyle isn't a for sure on Camilla right away. But Kyle ultimately has to tell Camilla about this flip, and they go to work securing the votes for getting Chrissy out. Kyle is able to have Joe try to sway the group, but then Kyle and David start to go back and forth. Everyone isn't fully convinced on voting Camilla, and seeing that if they vote Chrissy, it's going to cause a rift between their alliance. It's the first tribal with a jury member, and Cedric is looking like RuPaul entering the workroom. They start talking about how confusing today's conversations were, and no one was sure who was being truthful or not. Chrissy goes on another diatribe about the Strong Guys alliance, and then David, the meninist, gets really defensive, with Camilla straight up calling everyone out for terrible jury management. It's time to vote, and Jeff goes to tally them. No advantages or idols are played, so Jeff reads the votes. It's Chrissy, Shaheen, Chrissy, 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 and Chrissy. That's 5. That's enough. Chrissy is the 9th person voted out and the 2nd member of the jury. Overall, this episode was so tense. Like, between all of the alliances forming and then also splitting and then also the strategy talks on like who they should vote for, I was like pretty much on the edge of my airplane seat because I was on a flight when I watched it. But thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and tune in next week for another recap of Survivor.